All right, let's get right into it. Have you ever felt like you're playing some kind of game, but you don't know the rules, and no matter what you do, you just can't seem to win? Well, if that sounds familiar, you're in the right place. Today, we are going to break down how to deal with narcissistic relationships. And, spoiler alert, it's not about trying to change them, it's about understanding their game so you can finally change your own strategy. And it really all starts with this one kind of jarring truth. I mean, if you've ever tried to set a perfectly reasonable boundary, something totally normal, only to be told you're selfish or cruel or trying to control them, yeah, that's the whole issue right there. It's not you. You're just working from a completely different rule book. So, why doesn't your approach work? Why do all your good intentions, trying to be fair, trying to be understanding, why does it all seem to just blow up in your face? Well, the problem is, you're not even playing the same game.
And this is going to repeat over and over because they're still in an unhealthy relationship with the cluster B personality or the narcissist. Therefore, they are in a hostile environment every day. An emotionally hostile environment usually has long-lasting effects on a person. Okay, so let's look at the various types of hostility here. Emotionally hostile, spiritually hostile, psychologically hostile. All of this is right up under the umbrella of a hostile environment. Because while we're involved with the cluster B personality and or the narcissist, what's going on is that we're sharing space with him or her. Okay? Many times we're sharing space. And when we're sharing space, and there's a thing called energy transference that takes place. See, energy transference is something that's involuntary. It happens or occurs naturally between individuals when they are engaged. I don't mean just getting ready to get married, but I mean just they're in a relationship with each other. Okay, so the involuntary occurrence of the energy transference is also what's going to compound or add to the hostile environment on a emotional level, spiritual level, and a psychological level. And the energy body will be affected as well. This is often why we feel drained over time. Okay? So when you're in that hostile environment with the person and you are just experiencing all of the abusive tactics from the narcissist or the cluster B personality, yes, you're going to be under a lot of emotional stress. So as you work your support base, it's going to seem like you're not getting anywhere. Because actually, in a sense, it's like taking one step forward and taking 2 steps back.
And this, right here, this lays out the conflict perfectly. See, you walk into a relationship thinking, okay, we're a team. This is a partnership. You assume it's about mutual respect. But for them, it's a totally different story. For them, it's about dominance. It's about control. It's a competition where they have to be on top. It's not a partnership. It's a power struggle from the get-go. And this leads us right into a massive trap, what I call the fallacy of kindness. It's this belief that if you're just a little bit nicer or more patient, or if you could just explain your feelings one more time in the perfect way, then they'll finally get it. But here's the thing. They don't learn from reason. They learn from consequences, things that directly affect them. Your kindness, to them, that often just looks like a weakness they can exploit. So if their behavior isn't just random, what is it? Well, it's a playbook. It's a set of very predictable strategies that are designed for one thing: to keep you off balance and under their control. And once you can see these plays for what they are, you can finally stop getting sucked into the game. Okay, rule number 1 for decoding their playbook is simple. You have to ignore their words and watch their actions. They are absolute masters at telling you exactly what you want to hear. They'll promise the world, they'll act so sorry, but words are cheap, right? You have to look at the pattern. Do their actions over and over again show a fundamental lack of respect? Because that, right there, that's the truth. Now for a classic tactic: gaslighting. This is that crazy-making behavior where they deny something they said or did so convincingly that you actually start to question your own mind. They'll say, that never happened, or you're just being dramatic, and they'll say it with such confidence that you start to think, wait, maybe I am crazy.
They are literally rewriting history in real time.
And next up is one of the most powerful and addictive tactics they have: intermittent reinforcement. You know this one. It's the hot and cold cycle. One day they're the most charming, loving person you've ever met. The next, they're distant, cold, and cruel. This cycle gets you hooked. It's like playing a slot machine. You keep pulling the lever, hoping for that jackpot of kindness to return. It creates a dependency that is incredibly hard to break. And finally, we have projection. This is when they take all of their own bad behavior and literally dump it on you. If they're the ones being dishonest, they'll accuse you of being a liar. If they're controlling, they'll say you're the one who's suffocating them. It's a wild move that shifts all the blame and keeps you permanently on the defensive.
Okay, so now you can see the playbook. You recognize the moves. You see what's happening. The million-dollar question is, how do you actually stop playing? How do you finally put down the controller and walk away from the game?
And the answer begins with this really powerful concept: detachment. Now, this isn't about giving them the cold shoulder or trying to punish them. Think of it more as a strategic retreat.
A highly sensitive person balances emotional and mental. Yeah, it's a game changer. Unfortunately, this is often not considered. Let's move forward. Should going no contact from the narcissist or cluster B personality becomes a real option, the change of reality can be intimidating due to the emotional, spiritual, and psychological challenges that more than likely are to follow. Adjustments are going to have to be made in order to continue to thrive forward and heal after the dysfunctional relationship is over. Okay, so some people, for instance, who have gone no contact, this is sometimes why they continue to struggle with healing, because they're not looking at the adjustments that have to be made in order to continue to heal and thrive forward. Some people are still emotionally hoping that the narcissist and cluster B personality will wake up and see the light, even though they have been no contact for, like, say, 5 years. If a person is considering going no contact or ending the relationship, or let's just even say the relationship has ended because the narcissist has discarded him or her, in either scenario, this person who may be a highly sensitive person, one of the first things that they're probably going to have to do is they're going to have to take off the rose-colored glasses and face reality and see the narcissist for who they really are and what they really represent. Secondly, this individual more than likely will have to take into serious consideration how they want to continue to exist on this planet as a person who no longer invests in dysfunctional relationships with narcissists and cluster B personalities. That's going to take a lot of adjustment because you're moving from one reality to another. That's a transformation. That's a transition. It takes time. Third, this individual who's a highly sensitive person, they're probably going to have to take time out to learn who they really are outside of the dysfunctional relationship with narcissists and cluster B personalities. Many highly sensitive people have a background with cluster B personality types and narcissists being in their lives since their childhood. One of the things that the highly sensitive person has to do once the relationship is over is to reconnect to themselves. They're going to have to change their perspective about themselves. How do they see themselves? Do they have a positive self-image or a negative one? They're going to have to change it to benefit themselves. They're going to have to see themselves differently. In other words, it's time for them to start seeing themselves as a person outside of the dysfunctional relationship or relationships. Who are they outside of that? Many highly sensitive persons who have been involved with narcissists and cluster B personality types, they tend to be enmeshed with him or her. Therefore, they have an identity crisis. One way to break that is to release the toxic energy or to break the low energy cycle from the narcissist and cluster B personality. Now that that dysfunctional relationship is over, The highly sensitive person, which can be an empath, he or she is going to have to adjust to existing on the planet as a person who no longer engages or invests in toxic relationships with narcissists and cluster B personalities. These are some of the main reasons why some highly sensitive people do not make the adjustments, because the challenges that are emotional, psychological, and spiritual are sure to follow. And sometimes this may be overwhelming to some highly sensitive people. Okay, now let's look at some of the tools. Tool number 1, take steps to learn how to become your best problem solver, whereas it pertains to the various challenges that the dysfunctional relationship with the narcissist brings.
It's about protecting your own energy and taking back your emotional independence. The goal of detachment really starts with radical acceptance, and that means you have to stop seeing the potential of who they could be and start seeing the reality of who they have consistently shown you they are. It's about letting go of that fantasy, as painful as it is, because the truth, even when it hurts, is so much healthier than a comforting lie. And please, let this one sink in. This is a complete game changer. Their disrespect, their criticism, their inability to see you, that's a symptom of their own internal chaos. It has nothing, absolutely nothing, to do with your value as a person. It was never a reflection of your worth. So how do you actually do it? Well, it starts here. You have to stop looking to them for approval, because you'll never get it. The goalposts will always be moving. You stop explaining and justifying yourself, because they aren't listening to understand, they're listening to find ammunition. And you stop twisting yourself into a pretzel trying to avoid their criticism, because you can't. It's inevitable. All right, let's get into the really practical stuff, the nuts and bolts. We're going to shift into concrete, actionable steps you can take to start reclaiming your own peace of mind, starting like right now. Let's start with a classic move, the silent treatment. Here's your counter playbook. Step 1, do not chase them. Begging and pleading for attention is exactly the reaction they want. Step 2, calmly name what's happening. No drama, just a simple, I'm noticing you're silent, and it feels like a punishment. I'm going to give us some space. And step 3, the most important, turn your focus 100% back to yourself. Go do something that makes you happy. Your independence is the one thing that truly neutralizes their power. Think about it. When you're in a conflict with them, your body tells you, right? You feel that knot in your stomach, your shoulders get tight. Instead of letting that feeling trigger a reaction, use it as a cue. Let it be your internal alarm bell that says, okay, pause, just breathe. That tiny little space you create between their action and your reaction, that's where you find all your power. And I want you to burn this into your brain. You are not responsible for their feelings. When you set a boundary, they might get angry. They might try to guilt trip you. That's part of their playbook. Your only job is to state your boundary clearly and then enforce it. Consistently, every single time. So let's talk about winning. Because in this kind of dynamic, victory doesn't look anything like you'd think. It's not about winning an argument. It's not about getting the last word in. It's about completely redefining what it means to win. First things first, you have to let go of the idea of closure from them. You will probably never get that heartfelt, genuine apology. You're not going to get the validation you deserve. And chasing it will just drain you. Because in their story, they can't afford to be the bad guy. Because here's the secret. True closure isn't something they give you. It's something you give yourself. It's you looking back at everything that happened, validating your own experience, and giving yourself permission to heal and move on, whether they ever acknowledge their role or not. Which brings us to the new goal. The most powerful, defiant thing you can possibly do is not to fight back harder. It's to turn your attention away from them and toward yourself. It's to build a life that is so full, so joyful, and so authentic that their little games just become completely irrelevant. So what's the real win? It's the quiet confidence of living life on your own terms. It's the freedom of just being yourself, without walking on eggshells, without auditioning for a role in their drama. That peace, that freedom, that is victory.